and therefore the best TV show of 2022 is... What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So streaming in 2022 was on fire, and it was just impossible to do a top 10 list. So I've done a top 20 list, which is just going to be so fun to go through. As like I said, the TV shows this year have just been on another level, and it's been really, really great, as it's been both a combination of returning shows as well as original limited series shows, which have just been so fun to watch and binge. I have just absolutely loved the TV show offering of 2022. And by the way, every single show in this list has got an in-depth individual review, breakdown, theories, all of that and more, and you can find all of them linked in the description box below. But without further ado, let's begin the list. So in at number 20 is Man vs. Bee. I absolutely love Rowan Atkinson, and he really did demonstrate with this show that he is able to single-handedly lead a TV show across multiple episodes of this character versus a bee. It was just absolute genius, and in some ways it's a little bit relatable as well when you have an insect that's just flying around and it seems like it's your biggest adversary and you can't get rid of it. And every single situation that they have with Rowan Atkinson's character up against this bee was just absolutely incredible, and I just loved watching Man vs. Bee on Netflix. In the number 19 is The Resort. So if everybody loves White Lotus, this is a bit of a twist on White Lotus with a bit of a supernatural mystery taking place within a resort setting, which was really, really interesting. And I loved the concurrent storytelling between what's happening in the past as well as what's happening in the present, and the way in which it interlinks in the final episode was just so good. And it does tease a second season. I don't know if a second season is going to happen, as we still haven't heard anything, but if it is a one season show, then it was a really, really great show. And if I look, all of the actors were really, really impressive, all of the storylines that took place were really, really cool, and the visuals of just being on a resort, I feel like that alone is just so incredible. So in at number 18 is the incredible Bel Air. So they've taken the very famous comedy sitcom show, The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and have turned it into this really realistic, dramatic show. And it was just so good. It's got the US gloss all over it, while still retaining true to the essence of what Fresh Prince is all about, and the result is just so good, as in some ways it feels really, really familiar, especially when they had some really nice cameo appearances from the original show, but also it feels refreshingly new at the same time. So it just works really, really well, and I just can't wait for that second season. So in at number 17 is Inventing Anna. It was really interesting with 2022, as there were a lot of shows based on characters that you love to hate that were conning people out of loads of money, and I'll do a mini ranking within that. So in at number 4 is going to be Tinder Swindler, in at number 3 is The Dropout, in at number 2 is We Crashed, which was absolutely incredible, with Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway based on the WeWork business. But in at number 1 has to be Inventing Anna, which was just so good, so juicy, so fascinating. And like I said, it was just so unbelievable that all of these people were able to con out a lot of rich people out of a lot of money. Some of it was due to manipulation, but the majority of it was because they were just so charming, which I feel like really does show that combination of confidence and charm and luck really can get you really, really far. But of course, it does tell a bit of a cautionary tale of always ensuring that everything you do is really truthful and really legal as well. And who can forget that incredible accent? And I feel like Julia just did such a good job with all of the delivery, with everything that she did. In at number 16 is another Netflix show, this time The Watcher. And I really do love how streaming shows really are able to get top A-list talent to star in their shows, as this production was just so good, so creepy. I love Jennifer Coolidge's character, I love Bobby Cannavale's character, love Naomi Watts' character. Everybody was totally delivering their best work. And like I said, it was just so chilling, really, really unnerving, really, really uncomfortable. And I just can't believe that the real life mystery still hasn't been solved. But the cinematography of this show was absolutely stupendous, and you just couldn't not watch it, even though it is terrifying you, as it was just so fascinating and so interesting. In at number 15 has to be Obi Wan Kenobi. Now, I actually loved the prequel trilogy. I know a lot of people hate it, I know a lot of people slam it, but I thought it was so good. I love the fact that they got the casting absolutely perfect. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen playing Obi Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, two of the best characters from the entire Star Wars universe and lore, was just absolutely spot on. So the fact that we've got them back for this show and continuing all of the adventures and all of the confrontations that take place between these two characters. That final episode is just absolutely gripping, but also the entire show, I really, really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people slammed Obi Wan Kenobi, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I thought all of Obi's scenes are really, really incredible. All of the new characters just added a lot of dimension to that brilliant time of Star Wars. So I just had such a good time with Obi Wan Kenobi. So in at number 14 is season 4 of the Charmed reboot. Now I really enjoyed the Charmed reboot. Similarly to Obi Wan Kenobi, there were a lot of people that absolutely hated on this show, but I feel like if you gave it a chance, it was really, really good. And season 4 really picked up, as I feel like season 3 dropped it somewhat. But season 4 just added a lot new vigor. I feel like the new sister dynamic was really, really cool. I feel like all of the storylines were a lot more creepy and a lot more magic based, a lot more sister based. And what an outstanding ending. The fact that we went back to the Halliwell Manor is just an absolute crime that we're not going to see what would have happened next in season 5. I guess they kind of left it to your imagination now, but it would have been absolutely brilliant to see what could have happened next. And it would have been really, really cool. The plans for season 5 were going to be the Vera sisters, the Halliwell sisters, and 3 brothers this time, all partnering up together to try to vanquish an even bigger multiversal evil person. Could have been so good, but you know, never say never. Maybe we'll get a bit of a movie special to see that conclusion taking place. In at number 13 has to be Sonic Prime. Now this really has been Sonic the Hedgehog's year, as Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, was absolutely brilliant. We've got Sonic Prime coming out. Sonic Frontiers was really, really cool too. And I absolutely love the fact that this TV series is actually canon and linked to the video games, and also is Sonic's interpretation of multiverses, as this year really has been the year of multiverses, as well as being Sonic's year. So Sonic Prime was really, really cool, and we just have to see what's going to happen next. It is rumored that they have completed 24 episodes, so hopefully we'll get loads more seasons of Sonic Prime. Next up is another brilliant show, which is Moon Knight. So I feel like this show is actually overly criticized, as I love Egyptian mythology, and I love the fact that the MCU just brought it in such an organic way. And Oscar Isaac was just perfect casting to play Stephen Grant, to play Jake Lockley, and of course to play Mark Spector. And I just feel like his interpretation of Moon Knight was just chef's kiss, was just absolutely outstanding. The finale was definitely very rushed, and I would have loved another episode to have really fleshed out all of the storylines that they were trying to really, really quickly conclude. But that being said, as a series, Moon Knight just totally delivered, and I just loved watching every single episode. It really was WandaVision level of epicness, and how much you are hooked and gripped to the show, and how much every single episode really is mandatory viewing while the whole world is watching it. So I just feel like Moon Knight was just so good. And in at number 11 is Only Murders in the Building Season 2. You can't help but love all of these actors and all of these characters. Like I said in my top 15 movie ranking video, I absolutely love murder mysteries. And Only Murders in the Building just really does turn it into a bit of a comedy drama so brilliantly. And what a fantastic final episode. The ending was just so good. And I just can't wait to have Paul Rudd in the mix in season 3. It is just going to be so good. That's going to come out in 2023. And I already just can't wait for it, as Only Murders in the Building, both the first season and the second season, have just been absolutely outstanding. And it just very narrowly missed out being in the top 10. And speaking of the top 10, in at number 10 is Emily in Paris season 3, the true guilty pleasure, the show that everybody needs right now and is just the ultimate light relief, and just continues Emily's adventures in Paris so fantastically. I feel like it was so earned what they did in terms of following on from the brilliant cliffhanger at the end of the second season, and it was just more of what you love in this show in terms of really, really cool marketing campaigns, really, really cool love interests, really, really cool new characters, really, really cool adventures in Paris, just the ultimate love letter to Paris. And I just feel like it was really true to all of the experiences that an expat would have from another country in Paris. And I just feel like it just delivers a show so brilliantly. And Netflix just delivers this show with a true bow on, so it's just so, so good. Next up, we have Titan Season 4 Part 1, which was so good. And I love the fact that this show really does return to its horror and thriller roots, as there was some truly terrifying moments in this show, whilst also really jumping into the Titans world, as all of the characters actually really were at the forefront. We have some new characters in here and a brilliant ending. I already can't wait to see what's going to happen in part 2. But I just have to say, all of the characters are really, really cool. All of the VFX are really, really brilliant. I love the fact that we are in Metropolis now after moving on from Gotham City in the previous season. And because we're in Metropolis, we can focus a lot more on Superboy. And I just feel like all of the things that happen with Connor were just so, so good, as well as all of the other characters too. And like I said, that finale moment was just absolutely outstanding. In at number 8 is another criminally underrated show. This time it's the Afterparty on Apple TV. Like I mentioned earlier, I love murder mysteries, and this was such a good murder mystery. Firstly, the talent and caliber of actors that they have attached to this project were just absolutely brilliant. And then secondly, every single episode had a different style and genre, and it was just so good. Loved the murder mystery while you're solving it across all of these different episodes, and it just delivers such an outstanding show that you're just loving from start to finish, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next in season 2. In at number 7 is The Boys season 3, so I absolutely love all of these guys and girls in this show. All of the caliber of talent in this show in particular is really, really good. All of the transformations that take place across all of these different characters' journeys across this season is really, really good. The way in which it laughs at all of the Marvel and DC counterparts. But I feel like it's gone beyond that now, as all of these characters really are individual in their own right. And like I said, all of the character arcs individually were absolutely brilliant, and all of the laughs were really, really great, all of the action sequences were really, really great, and all of the shocking moments that this show has also become infamous for was absolutely brilliant. And similarly, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in season 4. So in at number 6 is Riverdale season 6. Now, speaking of excellent talent, I feel like the casting directors just did such a good job with all of the different characters and actors in this show, and we finally have magic and the supernatural in Riverdale, and they just totally went there and just delivered an outstanding season. Everything that they could do with all of the different characters and having magic involved, they did do. A really threatening evil character that really has touched all of the different characters' lives in a really dark way. And I just feel like they resolved everything really, really brilliantly. It was also really, really brilliant to finally have the crossover that everybody has wanted to see in terms of Riverdale and Sabrina. So we had Sabrina from Greendale in this season, and I thought it was really authentic, partnering her up with Cheryl, who always has been practicing a bit of the dark arts here too. So there was such a good season, and it's so sad that season 7 is going to be the final one, but I feel like they definitely are going to conclude it in an absolutely incredible way. So now we're into the top 5. So the 5th best TV show of 2022 has to be Manifest season 4 part 1. So I thought it was absolutely brilliant, firstly, that our fan campaign brought back this show. Netflix saved it after they saw the outcry and the outpour from everybody across the world wanting it back and demanding it back. And we did get it back, and I just feel like it continued everything so perfectly. Love the fact that Michaela really is front and center in this season and is just driving the storyline forwards. The heartbreak that Ben is going through after the death of Grace, the continuation of Angelina's evil reign of terror, and just that ending was just so gripping. I honestly can't wait to see what's going to happen and to have it all concluded in part 2 very, very soon. And speaking of wrapping shows up, in at number 4 is Dynasty season 5, another one for Netflix, which is just absolutely brilliant. A true guilty pleasure, as everybody just loves to see these elitist rich people. And I feel like this is a really great example of how you do a pure reboot, as it just rebooted everything from the original classic soap whilst retaining a lot of the key characters and a lot of the key storyline beats, whilst also injecting a lot of modernization into it. And speaking of ending, I feel like it wrapped everything up with such class. I love the fact that Steven returned. It was just such an outstanding ending, and it's just really, really gutting, as I loved every single episode of this entire 5-season run, and I just loved watching it every single year. But like I said, they ended it on such a high, which was just the perfect way to say goodbye to it. Now we're in the top 3. So in at number 3 has to be Wednesday, which was just so good. Literally did feel like a really long Tim Burton movie, but in the best way possible. And Jenna Ortega was just perfect casting as Wednesday Addams, and I love the fact that we had the Addams family just in the background, but it really was Wednesday Addams' show front and center. This character was just so, so good. And I also love the fact that we got Christina Ricci back in there. All of the other actors, for example, Gwendolyn Christie, was just bringing so much, and it stayed so faithful to all of the Addams family material whilst also doing something fresh and new here. And similarly to a lot of the other shows, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the second season of Wednesday. But now in at number 2, the runner-up, the show that just missed out on the number 1 spot, has to be The White Lotus season 2. Absolutely addictive viewing. I loved The White Lotus this season. I mean, I loved season 1, but season 2 really did show how you do a sequel and a second season in terms of how you better the first season. Perfect casting, loved every single cast member. Loved all of their characters, even though you do love to hate some of them. We had a little bit of an undercurrent of a murder mystery taking place every single week. So much to talk about with every single episode. And all of the characters are so layered as well. There is just so much to talk about in terms of all of the individual characters, whilst also talking about the mysterious escapades that all of them get up to, and so much social commentary on the real world, and a lot of lessons that people can really take from this show as well. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the third season. But like I said, from a second season perspective, this was just absolutely outstanding. But the best show of 2022 has got to be, it's another Netflix one, has got to be The Sandman. Neil Gaiman has been waiting for ages for the perfect depiction of the Sandman, and I feel like he has bided his time really, really well, as this depiction was so good. Every single episode definitely had a bit of a thriller edge to it, had all of the superheroics in there. I love all of the changes that they made from the comic book material, and all of the episodes really just feel like mini movies. They're just connected so perfectly, and I'm so glad that we've got that second season commissioned now, as we just have to see further adventures with all of the different characters, and just all of the magic, all of the visual cinematography, everything that took place in The Sandman just meant that it had to be the best show of 2022. So like I said, I absolutely loved a lot of the TV shows that were released in 2022. Streaming really is giving Hollywood a lot to think about, as in some respects, these TV shows are even better than their movie counterparts. It really is saying a lot, and I absolutely loved watching all of them and loved talking about it with you, and I just can't wait to see what 2023 is going to bring as well. But now I'd love to hear from you, so let me know what you thought of this ranking and what your ranking individually is, and what you thought of all of the individual TV shows. So please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you want to dive into any one of these particular TV shows even further, then like I said right in the beginning, I'll link every single one in the description box below, and I'd love to see you in one of those videos or in another video in the future.